Okay, so there's this item that's called emotional meditation. And there is this thing that actors use and people in life use as well to be able to work with the construct of emotional meditation, which is basically getting the ballpark of an emotion to be accessible within themselves. Okay, so this is a small piece of what is emotional preparation. And this small piece, which is actually a big piece for actors and for people that want to create things in life, they literally you can work with the technique to be able to decide and determine an emotion and then start to activate in a way that relaxes. You're relaxing directly in to the impulses that you're recollecting or that you're working with. And what this does is this creates this like emotional meditation. You literally are going into this for probably at least half an hour, maybe 20 minutes, and you're working and just sitting in that emotion. You're sitting in that emotion, you've decided what the emotion is, and you literally sit and you manifest meditation in a meditative way, that this element of actual, like, that type of emotion. Now, this is interesting because the first thing you need to decide and determine the ballpark. So this is not the type of meditation where you're trying to manifest you're not trying to manifest a type of reality for yourself. You're not trying to manifest something that's going to be something that's physical. What we're working on, this construct of emotional meditation, is the ability to be able to have your talent expanded in that emotional area. So how much can you activate, your abilities so that you're able to really expand that item. So let's say you want to feel euphoric, and there's this construct of euphoric, and you work with that euphorism, and you figure out what would make you to start to release the emotion of euphoria. And then you work with one item or two items, and you start to release emotional. You're meditating to be able to get and mind and find that emotion. You're working so that meditation is actually almost just a focused, thing where the result is the fact that the emotions are going to open up for yourself, and you're going to fill yourself up like you're like an empty pond that's getting cleaned, or an empty swimming pool, and you're filling that up. So you're filling this up with this emotional life. There are these programs that I use, and I use these programs to do these things like cartoons, to be able to accentuate, to absolutely amplify the emotions that I go through. And when I go through emotions, first of all, I absolutely emotionally prepare, sometimes even before the videos, because I love emotional preparation. I love to be able to get myself upset about one thing, get myself upset about another, and then put that into some imaginary work. And these cartoons, there's links in the descriptions below, and they can amplify those expressions that you can learn to be able to get with your talent. Okay, so feel free, use those links. And doing this kind of work, it takes quite a little bit of work to be able to achieve this, but there's techniques that make it a lot easier. And there is a very big difference between emotional preparation and meditation. And I've got a video on that. But the thing about this is the purpose of this exercise is to be able to find and be able to fill yourself up with emotion. So then there comes that point when you're working with things that have to do with, like, life coaches or whatever the case is that you're working with, trying to be able to be manifesting. Later would come the point of manifestation through law of attraction. But this is a different component. This is simply the ability to be able to get your emotion, put yourself in a place where you're filling yourself up with a specific emotion. Now, why would you want to do this? Well, sometimes when you're working with various different emotional techniques, you're in a situation where you want to be able to create this vacuum of attraction, right? This vacuum of attraction can happen if you've got more of that emotion that's involved in it, it's available to you. So the meditation is the ability to try and fill yourself up with that emotion, which is key. Now, why is this important for acting? For actors, a lot of times people will go into fleeting instincts, and then they'll work with an instinct rather than an emotion, and then they're depending upon the interaction of the work without having actually put the emotion into the work. So that's why it's applicable to acting. But the reason why this is important is not only for actors. This can be important as an exercise alone that you can do, that you can literally start to be able to do these exercises to see if you're capable of filling yourself up with that emotion. So let's say you're using the emotion of regret, and you want to be able to work with that regret so that you can heal some circumstance in your life, right? Or you want to be able to work with that regret so that you can write an apology letter for acting, which is an imaginary circumstance. Or you want to work with that regret and you want to be able to just try and deal with it so it doesn't come back at you in a way that it doesn't, you want to be able to be healthy with that, and you want to be able to have that regret, but yet not be able to have that out of balance. So you could literally at that point work with this thing that's called emotional meditation. And you literally would go into the regret, and your purpose would not be to do anything with it other than keep piling in that regret. You work so that you just start feeling more and more and more and more and more and more regretful. Okay? Now, the other side of this, which is very, 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 very important, is there's two sides to this exercise. There's one that's trying to get the emotion in, and then there's the emotion trying to get the emotion out. Hi, I'm inviting you to actually join me live on the internet. And if you would, you can bring your own emotional preparation. We can work on emotional preparation together, and we can really hone down and help build out that talent within inside of you. Now, even if all it is you want to just bring an emotional preparation, do a spoon river, I don't mind. Come, join us, and absolutely practice the talent of your own acting. So, to be able to be like completely healthy and absolutely like alert and awake in life and acting and whatever else you're working with, creations of music or just creating whatever content for something, you're basically in a situation where you've got this like ability that you're practicing with this technique. And this technique is the ability to both be able to find the emotion, fill yourself up with the emotion, and then be able to exhale the emotion. And of course, none of this is about like, inviting a whole bunch of anger and then going and exploding on a person. That's not what this is. This is the ability for you to be able to get the emotion, whatever it is, if it's anger, despair, regret, if it's depression. Can you pull in a whole bunch of depression? Can you put yourself in a situation where you can invite that in as an emotional meditation, and then also be able to exhale that out and have gone through that experience? Now, this is, again, like I said, this is a part of emotional preparation. Most people, I've never heard it described this way, and I've been studying over 30,000 acting exercises, sorry. So I've been studying over 30,000 acting exercises. So the key to this is not about trying to do anything fancy with it. At first, we're just trying to be able to work with the basic component of emotional meditation. Are we capable of getting, why is it that we are capable of getting anger, or we might be able to be capable of getting regret, but we're not capable of getting happiness? You know, this is where we can ourselves as artists and as people in general, we can start to find this component and really be able to kind of construct why we're able to access one emotion, but we're not able to access another emotion within ourselves. And you'll feel this working in a way that's unique. All of a sudden, you'll start to work with emotional meditation, and you'll start this whole thing where all of a sudden you'll start pulling in some kind of, let's look at denial, right? You're pulling in some kind of denial, and you're filling yourself up with this denial, and you can kind of feel like, more of that feeling like you're a little kid and you just told your parents that you ate your vegetables, but you dumped them in the garbage. And you're feeling that kind of feeling of like denial, right? And this is like this construct of like, how that denial, like that feeling of denial. And you'll feel more and more and more of that denial coming in, and you can access it with different memories, right? Different imaginary things too. Could you imagine one thing? Could that add a little bit more to your denial? Or could that add a little bit more to your emotion? Could that add a little bit more to your regret? And then you'll feel that you'll start to feel this thing that kind of fills up in you. All of a sudden, you're feeling more like a balloon, that there's just this like really gentle thing. It's very, very kind of expanding in you because you're starting to attract that construct of that emotion. All of a sudden, all of those different types of emotions are starting to come into you that are in that emotional ballpark. Now, the key, absolute key, just like I've said, is to learn techniques by relaxation. You relax into the impulses, right? And you're working with that emotion. And then when you're done the situation, you want to exhale that impulse, the emotional impulses, you want to exhale that emotion so that you can literally then start to feel again. You're like that balloon of emotion that's come over you will then start to feel less and less and less and less and less. Now, the other thing that's important is you might feel there is residual emotion in emotional meditation. This is absolutely normal. You might at first feel like all of the emotion that you work with to come in yourself, maybe 80% of it seems to be something that stays in you and it doesn't really want to exit once you're done the exercise. There are links in that description that you could actually use to improve your acting. It can help you to improve your creativity. So there are independent activities, there are reasons at the door, there's lists of programs, there's lists of emotions, there's programs that you can do, and there's also ways that you can actually contact me for private coaching. So listen, please do yourself a favor and check that out. Right down there in the description box. This is part of a process that you're going to go through to be able to figure out like almost your own relaxation muscles within yourself with your own talent as an individual, right? To be able to then relax in a certain way so that that emotion goes back and it goes back. And this is such a healthy exercise for artists, actors, musicians, creators, regular people. It's very key because the more we are actually in tune with our emotions, the more we'll be able to make better decisions for ourselves, the more we'll be able to absolutely be in a place where we're available, to life in a different way. We're available in our art a different way. We're available in our acting a different way. And this is part of what people will look at when they look at somebody and they say, oh yeah, I could imagine that person's done theater for 20 years, or imagine that person's done this or that, because they could look and they could say, I could see that there's an emotional availability. There's some spark about them that they have this ability about themselves, and that's an emotion availability. That's where when you watch them listen to somebody, they're really listening. They're really taking the person in. They're trying to interact with them. There's not this emotional baggage. There's actually this emotional openness. And this is the key. This is what we're looking to do with this exercise that's called the emotional meditation exercise. So really, please boop the like button, and if you feel like it, and ask me questions about stuff, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. And I'll likely work, and maybe I'll make a video on it, maybe not, but or I'll just answer you back, and then just let me know what else would be helpful to you to be able to expand this point. Now, I've literally seen over 30,000 acting exercises, and the key thing is that I've seen famous people to non-famous people training in techniques that are emotional techniques. And this is a technique that I've never heard anybody describe anywhere. This is just something that I'm making up to be able to help actors. I know this is a component of emotional preparation because I'm writing constantly, I'm working on stuff. This is one of the things that I'll do myself to be able to practice my own availability, my emotional availability. Can I be able to pull in one thing, have it sit there? I'm not even doing anything with it at that point. The other techniques for like creative work or trying to manifest life, all of that's kind of outside of this area. This is just a piece of the work that's kind of stuck in the middle where it's kind of an important step that you could use to be able to further yourself. Okay, so good luck. Thanks very much. Okay, so I teach people how to get upset. I have a lot of fun teaching people how to literally, purposefully upset themselves. Actually waking their own activations up so that they're emotionally activated. There's something that they can get upset about within a ballpark of emotion. But the key, the absolute key, is I don't want you to carry around that stuff in your life. That's what's called acting baggage. You want to be able to learn a technique. I have to be able to tell you that it would be a disservice for me to teach you all of these incredible techniques on how to access yourself as an artist without reminding you very nicely that you don't need your acting baggage in life. So feel free, work on processes where you have a release time after you're doing your acting. And what this will do is it will actually amplify your work because it will give your acting muscles the break that they need in order to get the rest that they need so that your work will be even stronger. Okay? Thanks very much.